This week on In Business, we continue with part 3 of our 3-part series on what you need to know about multifunction printers. We talk to an entrepreneur that has been fired from his family business so many times, the family finally made him the president. Our book profile is about the art of stress-free productivity. How do you turn a business on a dime? We find out right after the break. George Barakat, president of Laila's, told us all about his family business when we asked, how'd you get started? George Barakat is a Toronto native with long-standing ties to Peel Region through his business in Brampton and his home in Mississauga.
My mom, her name is on the building, Laila. My father's name is Barakat, same as his last name. They started this business. They started it from one retail location in Malton at Westwood Mall. I'll still remember it to this day. You know, I was just a kid, you know, playing video games in the mall, and they had a half gift and craft store and half candy, cotton candy and ice cream shop. Eventually, they closed down the candy side, kept the gift and craft, expanded to 8 retail locations. And, you know, my father, he always had the foresight to know what to do in the market.
The entrepreneurial spirit engaged George at a very young age.
I've always been business-minded, even back pre-high school, in high school. I can remember back in the day, even a friend of mine, we took on a business called SG Music Supply, and we'd sell musical instruments into the flea markets.
George is a passionate businessman with strong family ties.
Oh my God, my children are the loves of my life. My daughter is just, she's got to be the smartest person I've ever met. She's a hell of a lot smarter than me. And my son, man, he's all heart. But, you know, I'm only getting busier, it seems, in the business. We took on a few more other businesses going forward. And I make it a note to separate time to spend with my children, whether it's in the morning or before they go to bed. But we definitely have times when it's our time. You know, I have to honestly give a lot of respect to my wife. She's really doing 80% of the job and raising our kids, and she really is doing a fantastic job. I mean, we project a lot of love into our household to our children, and we get it right back. And I think that the ability to keep them close at this age is going to pay dividends in the future.
We asked about the challenges of a family business.
I was fired on many occasions in the early days and quit on many occasions. It was never assumed. As a matter of fact, I don't think my parents ever wanted this life for me. They wanted me to pursue law or, you know, something in the medical field, as my sister did. And I just fought hard and wanted this. This is where I believed I needed to be, or wanted to be. I still do. I love every minute of it. You know, this is home to me. I could do this all day long, all year long, all life long.
It all started in 1978, and George says his family has never been afraid to put it all on the line for the business.
When we originally sold off the retail operations, there was obviously staff in 8 retail stores. From there we went to distribution, and our distribution outlet was set up primarily for paper toll, prints, racks of prints, and there wasn't many employees involved. It was distribution, pulling product off a shelf, packing it and redistributing it out to retailers. So I think our first location was on Strathern in Brampton, and it was a small operation, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. We rented the building back then. From there we moved into Tranmere in Mississauga, not far as well, into just 11,000 square feet, and that was our first purchase, our first building purchase. And again, I'd have to give my father a lot of credit. He always had the foresight on when or to get into real estate, I guess, at that time. Now that was probably the top end of the real estate market. I remember that now, where I think a recession hit a few years after and our real estate dropped to half the value, and again we survived and persevered. And from there we moved into our operation in Lorimar. Lorimar is when we really started making the manufacturing push, maybe at the end of Tranmere into Lorimar. And we stayed in Lorimar for a while, and Then we built this building here on Steelwell, ground up, purchased the land, built the building on it, and here we are.
How do you turn a business on a dime? We find out right after the break. Welcome back to In Business. Change in business can be healthy, and the successful companies like Laila's embrace it. We find out more as we continue with George Barakat and how'd you get started. The Barakat family prides themselves on being able to turn on a dime. This agility is a cornerstone of their success.
I'm going to have to thank China for changing it for us, okay? We're a company that we have it ingrained that we will persevere and no matter what time it is. And the time right now is people turn to imports because of the price. Well, we looked at, and obviously the economy is the way it is right now. There's not a lot of disposable income being pushed into the economy by the retail public. So, we're in the art business. And art is not a necessity, it's a pleasure. So we have to make sure that we bring that art, the best quality we possibly can, and put it into the consumer's hands at a fair and decent price. Now, we could have went that way and imported it from China, but then I'd have 100 people in my factory that wouldn't have jobs. We took a latter route and we created more jobs for artists and, ensured that our current employees that we do work with have a stable future. How we did it is we contracted our artists to paint a lot. We take all that art and we print it upstairs in our own factory on canvas. We UV coat it and we put it into various framing techniques, and the art is, in my opinion, the best art out there, the best. Colors are brighter than anybody else's. Our supply lines are very short now because we're not relying on other publishers in the U.S. or abroad to ship us prints. We still do business with them, but we're on a limited basis. And we believe that if we keep growing, keep moving along that path, we are definitely going to cement an infrastructure and create even more interest in Laila's and Laila's products through not just a handful of retailers, all retailers. I think made in Canada is going to mean something again.
We talked about the future of manufacturing in Canada, and this CEO had some advice for our policymakers.
I mean, you look at China, who has a subsidized manufacturing base. Why did they take over the world? Well, it's simple. Their government understands exporting product is good for the economy. Our government, in my opinion, doesn't do enough. There are programs in place, that you have to jump through a million hoops, but everything right down to the exorbitant taxes that we pay on our business establishment and buildings makes it very difficult to compete on a national and international basis with international suppliers. I mean, you look at everything the government wants, and they want to create jobs for the people. There are no bigger creator of jobs than manufacturing. Distributors, they need very little employees. Retail operations, segmented per store. Manufacturer in one location can create 100+ jobs. I mean, why wouldn't you invest in that future? Why wouldn't you rejuvenate that trade skill? Canada deserves it.
We asked this entrepreneur to extend some advice to others.
They say genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. I think an entrepreneur understands that the 99% perspiration is what makes an entrepreneur. I think that the ability and willingness to roll up your sleeves anytime, anywhere, makes you an entrepreneur. I think that understanding that failure is not an option makes you an entrepreneur. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up. When anyone else ever tells you, looks at you and says, what you're doing can't be done, then you have to exercise the ability to have tunnel vision and achieve those goals and satisfy your own doubts that it can't be done. That's it. Don't let anybody ever tell you no. What is an entrepreneur? It's the ability to have an idea and bring it to fruition. And circumvent the landmines along the way.
Do you accomplish all your tasks during the day? Do you forget things? We get all the answers when we review the book, Getting Things Done, right after the break.